1983 ATC 200E. Will it run? Probably not. Looks like we're going to get rained on, but we will see. General overview here of what we're working on. I already said it's an 83 200E. That means it's a big red. It's a utility machine. And a lot of them probably got scrapped by now. And this one is not far from it. So obviously we have a front tire here that is not going to hold air. The rears are still holding air, believe it or not. This thing sat, as far as I know, in the woods for a really long time and is locked up. It also had some fellows living in it. You don't like to see that, but yeah, it's locked up. You can see where it got bent trying to break it free. We're going to have to take this off probably and get straight on the crank to try and bust it loose. But even pulling it, it was in gear and it was just locking up the rear tires. So I have to see. Throttle here, we got, it's not locked up, but it's barely moving. It's real stiff. So we're going to have to definitely pull the carburetor apart, as you do on these kinds of things. In really rough shape. I mean, fender's cracked. That fender's cracked. This fender's the better of the fenders. It's got a crack there and a crack there, though. But that's all immaterial. It's a Honda. Aesthetics don't matter. You get that thing broke free, I bet we can make it run, whether it likes it or not. And if we can't get it to run, we do have a motor that we know runs. This here's a regular old ATC 200 that has been used for parts for another one, so it's relatively junk. The frame on this one's shot, so that's why we're gonna probably take it apart. I mean, you got a rust hole right there even, and that's on the top side of the frame. You don't want to see the bottom of that frame. But I'd love to work on it in the shop, but it's kind of dark in there with the storm coming and all. We don't have a lot of light, and I don't want a generator running in the background the whole time. I'll save you guys' ears. So we'll be working out here until the rain comes, probably. We'll have to see. Looks like someone put a new headlight bucket on here, I noticed, so that's nice. New headlight too. Normally those are busted out or the headlights all cracked up. Still have this panel here. That's pretty cool. Got some fan dangling going on here. That's interesting. We'll have to see something about that. And most importantly here, guys, we have the OEM toolbox strap. You can't buy these aftermarket. They are expensive as well if you can find an original one. Last price figure I saw on that was around $200 for an OEM one. Now that was still in the package and whatnot, but this will probably stay with this machine if we can get it running, just for the fact of it's original. Now let's see what's in the toolbox here. I haven't really gone through this, so got a bottle. Ooh, free screwdriver. Gotta love it. Some rope. Get that out of there. Looks like we have a lot of the original tools from the toolkit. The pliers, wrench. Got this wrench here. Got a pair of vice grips. Ooh, interesting. They're falling apart. They're missing some stuff. That's good parts vice grip right there, guys. Another pair of pliers. More wrenches, more pliers, more pliers. This guy liked his pliers. Some bolts. A brand new rusty cotter pin. That's a keeper. A squished big ass nut. I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's an oval. That's a good sign. Big ass washer. You know, usual tools you'd find in a toolbox for one of these things, surely. I don't know when the last time this thing was run, but I'd have to guess probably before I was born. Yeah, that's the general overview. I'll keep updating as we go along here, because I'm not going to be able to record the entire time. As you know, things are hard to work on with one hand. So, yeah. Alright, we're going to try and break it loose here. It's 14mm nut on the end of that crank. Can't get a wrench on it, so I'm using a big-ass ratchet. But I've had the cylinder soaking in the past with penetrating oil. And I have also removed the spark plug to try and give us our best shot here. So let's see if it'll break loose. Nope, that's just loosening the nut. We're going to have to go the other way. Figures. Try not to tighten it too much and snap anything off. Yeah, I'm not liking the feeling of that, guys. I think we're going to have to try some other way of doing this, because that's just going to try and snap it off. I'll see what we can figure out. Alright, so we didn't beat the rain. It's been about 10 minutes since the first clip in the video, and it has started to rain a little bit. I've retreated inside the shed here, if I can form words. As far as that goes, only way I can really think of breaking it loose now would be to get a foot shifter on it. Since it didn't come with one, I'll borrow one off of something else. Put it on there, see if we can get it up into 4th or 5th gear and get the wheels to break it free, which is going to be hit or miss if it just sticks and slides or if it actually breaks free or not. I will say I've cheated and I've looked in that cylinder with a bore scope before and it doesn't look bad in there. So I'm not even 100% sure if it's rust that locked it up or if it's something internal that locked it up. It could be either or, since obviously when they stopped it, it was in gear because it's still in A gear. We had to drop the transfer case into a neutral between high and low to get it to just roll over here, and the brake ain't locked up. So something happened in which they stopped it in a gear, and it hasn't run since, so we'll have to figure that out. The oil, I've looked at it before too, and it's about old enough that it's still roaring. It's blacker than black, I tell you what. But I'm hoping it's just something in the cylinder causing it to still be locked up and we can get to break free with the wheels. If not, I'll manufacture my own little steel plate with ears on it, a bit stouter than that recoil basket, that we can really get a breaker bar on there and try and roll it over with that. If that doesn't work, then it's going to be a motor swap for this machine probably. Time for an ADD brake. This one actually runs. Woo! Alright, gonna try something really stupid here. You shouldn't do this. That being said, I'm a professional idiot. So we have a booster box hooked up to the starter here, and I'm just going to try and hit it with the starter and see if maybe that'll break it loose, just out of stupidity and desperation. So let's see here. If we even have a good starter. Starter might be toast, because I'm getting nothing there. So can't hurt it if it doesn't do anything, right? Well, that didn't work. Alright, so that didn't work, as y'all can see. So rather than trying to get a shifter on it and everything, because all the shifters on everything else I have seem to have been welded on by someone else, I am going to take this cover off and see if there's anything lying behind it that I can use to pry on this to try and get it to come loose. So what we're doing here is we're removing this cover. It's a bunch of 8mm. Thankfully, seems pretty clean on the other side of all of these. They aren't sticking too bad, so we shouldn't have to worry about too much. That's always something you gotta worry about on this older stuff, is snapping heads off. Or rounding them, like that one's starting to, so I'll have to figure something out for that one. But that's a longer one. That one goes to oil, as I can see off of that one, so might have to do oil behind this cover. and y'all will be able to see how bad the oil is in this thing. But I believe this one back here is for this cover, so that should be all of them except for that one, which I'll get that one off real quick. With the power of movie magic, I managed to get that bolt out of there, so now we're going to see if this side cover will come off and see if it leaks stuff everywhere. I might have to remove the crank bolt. I'm not sure yet. Honestly, probably be better off just to do that now, just in case. So, let's do that. Don't want to mess anything up now. Already this far into it. That there is our crank bolt. That ain't quite all the way out yet. There it is. Well, 14mm appears to have a little rubber O-ring on at the end too, so don't want to lose that. Oh, let's see here. That is not wanting to budge. Wonder if you're supposed to tap on that there with something. It's a bit too long. Let's try this guy here. Might be able to drive it off, or you might be able to learn from my mistakes. You can't really reach in there. You're going to have to go in from the other side by the looks of it. Because this is on there tight. That there probably ain't helping either. That's got a little seal in it on that shaft. And this little E-clip, that probably needs to come off. That's most definitely about to fall into the oil pan. I got it. That's where your neutral indicator would go normally. See if I can get around the other side here and tap on it with a screwdriver to drive it off. If the screwdriver's long enough. There, we're making progress. Alright, there appears to be another locking tab on the underside here. Not a locking tab, but a tab that we can tap on. Try and get the bottom half of the case free here. Oh, is it going, guys? I can't see. You ain't being very helpful. That made a noise. Knocked something out of there. Is that our cup for the basket? So yeah, that definitely needed to come out, that crank bolt. That's a big hunk of metal there. See if we can make any progress wiggling on it. No, we're still tight up in here. We need to find a way to separate that up there. I'm not quite sure how we're going to go about that, but everywhere else is seeming to come apart. Still has a gasket in there. That's a good sign. It's starting to come. I don't know, I might have to finish working this off camera here because it's being a pain in the butt. It is off. So, things to note here whenever you take this apart. First of all, stator's in here, so you're going to have to loosen up this clamp up here to actually get the wire loose so you can pop it apart. That was no biggie. That wasn't really what was holding us up. Ooh. Some sort of goo-filled husk there. Oh well. Another thing, watch for washers. These have washers on the end of them, and if you have an oil drain pan under there, a washer may just fall out and fall down into the pan. Don't ask me how I know. It's a plausibility. That being said, I'm going to secure this washer before that may or may not happen again. Definitely didn't happen once. Yeah, so what I'm looking at here is with this cup off, there's a nice big T-slot in here. Might be able to take this, put it back in there, bolt it down, and maybe get a pipe wrench on this. And hopefully it don't bite it hard enough that we mess up this too much where we can't smooth it out, because this surface here sits inside a seal in this case, and I don't want to chew that up too bad so it ain't chewing up seals. But only one way to find out. It won't matter if we're chewing up seals if the thing don't run anyway. So one of those sacrifices you gotta make kind of thing, you know. It moved a little bit, I felt. Either that was the rag slipping or it moving. Ooh. Yeah, it's definitely tight. This bar ain't near long enough for what we're doing here. I'm also no Olympic athlete in strength by any means. Oh, yeah, this ain't good, guys. But what's it gonna hurt, right? Might need to get a longer bar. Should I have one around here somewhere? Alright, let's try this again now with big ass, probably 3 foot long pipe or more. Oh, it did something. See if we can get another bite here. Let's do this big ass cheater pipe. That sounds lovely. I really know how to pick them. Well, that time it felt like it came pretty loose. It's a creaky old one, but it's moving. Oh, that's just lovely sounding. Whew. I don't know, guys. It's not sounding too great. Oh, but I did feel it come up past top dead center or bottom because it had a little lurch to it. Ooh. We might be getting somewhere, people. Get my pipe wrench back on here square-ish. We might be able to turn it with the pipe off now, if we're lucky. Because it's feeling a lot better there at the end. Let's see here. Definitely chewed that up a bit. Get this back on there, although I don't think it's really helping. Yeah, fuck it. Might just cause us to slip more, you never know. But it's spinning. It's freeing up. I think we just had a rust ridge, maybe. That's the thing with these old Hondas. So long as you have spark and you can get it to spin over, generally speaking, it'll run. They don't even need too god-awful much compression usually. I know plenty of you have probably seen them in your own time, riding around smoking like hell. That's how some people know when to refill them, is when they stop smoking. So that's pretty free now. I can actually kind of move it just with my hand, spinning it over. Yeah, I think we're good to start messing around, putting the recoil back on, and keep putting some stuff in the cylinder, try and clean it up a little bit, but we're going places. It's free. They're spitting some junk out. If you can't see that, definitely some shit in there. That's all that old lubricant I sprayed in there. But there's also lots of junk blowing out with it, so at least the rings were sealing. We know that much because that stuff's been sitting in there for probably more than a month. And we did start pumping oil out of here on this side case with it spinning. All right, so a quick aside here. I've got the starter apart because I wanted to see if we could get freed up because it was obviously locked up, and got the center drum out of it. And as you can see, those magnets are rusty. So I'm gonna get that cleaned up, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can actually get together. I'm gonna have to do some soldering here because whenever I was loosening it, that bottom nut and the stud and everything started to move, I'm assuming, and cause that to twist out of place. That bottom one is still connected. I'm hoping it'll be all right, but that top one ended up popping out, so we're gonna have to resolder that, and hopefully we'll be ready to roll. All right, so finishing putting this back together. It's day 2. I did a lot of the boring stuff off camera, like putting the side case back on, cleaning that guy there up a little bit. Got the starter working, rebuilt it, put it all back together, and I'm working on getting back together now so I can get to more interesting videoable stuff like putting that carburetor together, which we have another carburetor over there if we need to use it. Should work the same and it should be good, but get that off, get that cleaned up, and see if it'll fire, and then probably be a part 2 where we get that front end apart and get a wheel and everything installed on it, because I have experience with those. That's gonna be probably its own separate video worth of beating and bashing to get it apart, so yeah. Alright, I just got the top of the slide off here, and check this out. This is not good. Look at that. It's seized up in there pretty decently. See what inside looks like. Can't really see. Turn on a light for y'all here. Yeah, it ain't the greatest in there, but we'll have to see what the bottom looks like. I bet it's savable. Alright, so I got our carburetor off. First thing to note is this rubber O-ring was stuck to the intake tube rather than the carburetor, and it is pretty dry, rotted feeling, just not good. I have O-rings that can replace that. That's garbage. Another thing is this choke assembly is completely froze in the open position now. If it was going to freeze any there, I'd rather it be frozen like that, because don't want it on choke the whole time, but I'd also really like to get that freed up. So I'll be cleaning it and trying to free that up, and I'll get a video once I get that bowl off and see what it looks like in there for y'all. Alright, so I got our carburetor apart here, and here's the top half. Not looking too great. We got a lot of oxidization, crystallized gunk on there. End of our jet, as you can probably see. I'm getting better light here for y'all. End of our jet is pretty well got some rusty gunk on it. Have to get that cleaned up, sorted out. But I've seen and run a lot worse in my time, so that there ain't horrible. Our bowl, on the other hand, is kinda got a bunch of rust in the bottom of it, but we'll get that cleaned out and try and run it. We'll see. This gasket here, I don't have the greatest faith in sealing. It's pretty well smushed and dry, but I don't have anything for that, so we'll just have to throw it together and see if it leaks or not. Alright, so some things have happened since I last recorded a bit. Got the carburetor cleaned, got it back on there. It didn't clean up too bad. There wasn't really anything to note when taking it apart. Regular old stuff. There's other videos out there on YouTube that do plenty better job of explaining cleaning them than I can. So got that back on there. Got our case bolted back on. As you can see, I have the booster box hooked up because I was spinning over checking for spark and it didn't have spark. So messed around with the wires up there a bit since I don't have a key. That didn't do it. So ended up going to the parts machine I have out here that I showed before, and I know that had a good CDI box on it, so I grabbed the CDI box off of that and brought it over. This is a CDI box off of that one, and well, that's the funny thing about CDI boxes. They can look as good as ever and just be chilling out, but believe it or not, that CDI box was bad. Threw that other CDI box on there, and now we got spark, so we're about ready to see if it will run. Alright, time to see if it'll try and start. Got a makeshift fuel cell hooked up, and yeah, let's see what it does. Eager to go. Alright, let's try this again. Believe the throttle might have been hung open a little bit. We know the kill switch works at least, so here goes nothing. Nope. It is a runner, that's for sure. Not an idler. Nope, not one bit. Smoky. Very smoky. I'll see if we can figure this out. Haven't I've really had one do that before. Going from locked up to full RPM. Maybe that's how it happened. Alright, so I got a bore scope in there, and as you can see, it appears we're stuck open a good bit, maybe like half throttle or so. So I think that's what's doing it. The only question is, how do we fix it? We're going to try and mess with the idle screw. Think maybe someone had the idle turned way up. Only one way to find out. Alright, let's try this again. We've messed with it, and I figured out that underneath this boot here, that nut there was unthreaded all the way out of it, which is holding our throttle up. So I got that screwed back down in there, and let's see what happens. Right to life. A little smoky. Doesn't want to sit here and idle perfectly right away. Let's try it again here. Well, the video cut out, I noticed, but it runs, as you saw. It's a Honda. I wasn't really expecting it not to. That isn't the first one I've dealt with that's been locked up either, honestly. The one that I had that was locked up before this is one of the ones I ride around regularly now, so, and it runs great. This one, as you saw, quite a bit smoky, but quick rebuild on that motor when it hurt. I mean, these things will run like that forever so long as you keep oiling them, so I'm not too worried about that. I'd like to ride it in this video, but as you can see, that front tire pretty rough, and these things don't like to come apart easily. From my experience, I've had to have one re-threaded on the end actually before because of how bad I had to beat on it to get it out. I tried using the nut to save it. It did not work. It just pulled the threads on the nut, so you'll see more of this in the future, probably, if I record it. We'll see how this video does. But, if you want to see anything else about any of these three-wheelers too, just, mention it, I guess, in the comments down below. Interaction, engagement, that whole thing. YouTuber business. But, yeah, it's a Honda. Engine isn't the part you gotta worry about on these things. It's getting the rest of it to cooperate with the engine. Honda knew how to build a motor around this time. That's all I'm saying. That's gonna be all for now, guys. See you in the next one.